Hi, welcome to DCP Talks, Episode 2. This is my podcast, and I have featured this on my website, www.authorstephencandace.com. I have written many books, and a lot of those books are on Audible. So I decided to get my books out there so they could be noticed. Like everyone else, the feeding frenzy on TikTok and Instagram are going crazy. Can I get a holla? Holla. Let us discuss two books which are available on Audible as well, which you can get through my website. I will read the pages from those books, and then we will break down the why factor in each of those books. You can have an opportunity to send me feedback and questions. AuthorStephenCandace@gmail.com. Now let's get to it. The two books in this week's episode: Vladimir, Night Breds. Book 1, Vladimir. Book 1, Vladimir, narrated by Alan Van Pelt. Alan is a narrator. He has done some amateur voiceover productions, commercial work, and some local announcing. He lives in the state of Ohio in the United States. Now, why did I choose Alan? The answer is, when he read this story to me, he fit the role as a narrator talking about vampires. I needed to feel that outside interaction, but at the same time, sleek, smooth. I had over 25 auditions, but Alan fit the part perfectly. So there you have it. Let me introduce you to Vladimir. This tale is about vampires and humans coming together in a new world. Okay, they coexist for many years until the humans attempt to manipulate the vampire's blood, causing chaos. With Vladimir, the lord of the vampires, making a plan to take over the world in one night. Now the vampire nations is running the world. Humans are used for entertaining the vampires. They have become a great food source as well. They have returned to the Roman days. The vampires running their empire. I am sure you will understand once you enlighten in the book. Check it out. I think you would like it. You know, the book is about the world's greatest vampire, Vladimir. You might like it. Let me give you a little taste. She heard something over her head and then stopped in her tracks. The air was blowing all around her. She started looking around her frantically in every direction as fast as possible, but she could see nothing in the darkness. She lunged for the front porch. She had her arms extended out whenever she reached for the front door handle. Her eyes lit up with a slight smirk on her mouth. She was inches away, so close to her salvation. Then, in a split second, she vanished into the wind with her screams yelling for daddy. Like a ribbon floating in the wind, she was gone. Whew! That was something else terrible. Now let's talk about Book 2, Night Breds. Night Breds is narrated by M. Jeffrey Howard. He is a narrator. He is a voice actor for over 30 years of experience in the media communications. He has experience in on-the-air radio as well as television. He lives in the state of Virginia in the United States. Let me talk to you about Night Breds. Night Breds has 124 pages. This is a story of bloodsuckers and werewolves after years of coexisting dormancy. The pack of wolves decided it's time to make their stand for dominance. This has been silence for almost 200 years between the two clans. The vampires claim first blood, but soon things are clear where the borders are drawn at Beamer Falls. The demon war is about to unfold. It will not be pretty, folks. Let me give you a little taste of Night Breds. She walked over and put her arms around him. He wrapped his arms around her and then held her close. He stretched out his jaw, then sank his teeth into her neck. He held on until she was gone. He let her go, watching her collapse to the floor, and then he just walked away. Damn, Now, why did I choose Mr. Howard to narrate this book? The answer in when he spoke in the audition, the deep masculine voice was so clear and calm, making me think he was a werewolf telling me his side of the story. I really liked that because I wanted to hear that rawness, the ruskiness. And yet, when I heard his voice so many times consistently, and I had a lot of auditions, I decided he was the one. That's it. Now you have it. So what is the difference between the two? In Vladimir, the vampires have stayed hidden for many years, blending in the world at night. They only took what was needed for survival, even taking the clone blood until it was being tainted. Now, why does the government always feel they are smarter than everybody else, trying to manipulate situations as usual? Just saying. What would you do in that case? Shit, I'd toast a little peckerwoods for dinner, barbecue them, throw a little sauce on them. Delicious. Now let us break down night breeds. Werewolves, a strong animosity towards one another, completely different in every way, even how they eat, sleep, and even with their partners. A strong attraction and affection and tenderness towards their own, but completely different towards another species, like dogs and cats. So what is the difference in the species? Vampires, mythical creatures, the undead humanoids, right? The vital essence is blood for them. Let me see, they have speed, they can levitate, they can even fly if they have to. They only come out at night, the same as our little furry friends. The old English used to call them werewolf. An individual who can shapeshift into a wolf, possibly because of a curse or a scratch from another wolf. They transform at night during a full moon. The source call it lycanthropy. Now, what is their relationships? Vampires can manifest in both romantic and platonic contexts. You would never even know they're there. Very sexual, very sleek, inviting for sure, able to trance you. Now, wolves have a different set of rules. They can be manipulating, controlling, unstoppable, emotional, and turn on anyone. They don't take no shit. Very alpha orientated. So which brings us to the question. So why do people choose, they decide to go out in the late night hours? Same as our little friends. We are searching for something, I feel, inside that can't be explained. We've all have been there. We wonder why we go and do such things. The question has been in existence since the beginning of time. We often find ourselves in situations making us to choose a decision. I really feel is because people want to let loose. What I mean is, why do some individuals seem to have so many hidden secrets about their fantasies to anybody? I know a person that would, in the business world, be so professional, and then in the late night hours turn to a diva. Like, wow, I was shocked at first, but who am I to judge, right? Why do so many people feel the need to be controlled? They can't even make a decision without letting somebody else do it for them, especially in the sex department. Why do some partners would do anything to keep you? They try to satisfy you in every single way or turn. They will spend every dime that they have just to win your approval. Well, shit, we've all had little freaks now and then, or we may be. Which brings us to secrets and lies. What I mean is, what if your partner is hiding something? You know, they say in psychology, when your partner is constantly accusing you of doing something or being somewhere, it is because what they are doing themselves. Holla! I always felt the bullshit of someone trying to point the blame game and putting me on the defensive. Or what happens if they all of a sudden make a big deal before you go out somewhere or a function? If they really didn't want to go, they should have just said so. I mean, why not tell you exactly how they feel? You know, the truth will set you free. Can I get a holla? Holla! Now, we all know someone who goes out on weekends and seems to fall in love with someone in the middle of the night to satisfy their every needs. Of course, they would never ask their partner to go with. They're too straight, right? So easy to kiss and tell, secrets and lies. Damn, what would they do in a relationship, platonic or love? It can turn someone so cold and heartless like a vampire friend of ours. Just saying. Shit, we've all been hurt. Hell, I've been guilty of causing such things. But from at least I knew to apologize and pay for such actions. I surely was no saint in my younger years, and probably neither were you. It's all about life experience and what we must learn. Can I get a holla? Holla! Like I told you, I've been in a few relationships. I know what it is like to escape in the midnight hour. I used to work afternoon for many years for Applebee's. I would work till 1 in the morning, and in Memphis, the bars would close at 4, but the casinos were a half hour away all night long. Here in Canada, everything closes at 2, except for the casinos are open all night. You still have plenty of time to go and do what you want and get your freak on. So please, I know what it is like. I know how it feels. So please don't try to tell me. It just comes down to good decisions, which brings us to, once again, regret. Why do we regret something after we've done it? There is really no regret. Why? You knew what you did, and you were aware of the consequences and your actions. So you took it upon yourself and you still made that decision, right? The excitement, the chemistry, the feeling of explosion inside. And all of a sudden, bam, things escalate, letting your emotions take over. Sooner or later, it becomes a true nightmare that you gotta damn deal with. And that could be the reason with consequences. The issue is that everyone knows the consequences after being with somebody. It may have something to do with a movie called The X. If you haven't seen it, it's a must. Antonio Banderas. That was a great movie, and that was an extraordinary showing of how somebody decides that they never want to break up. I mean, man, the girl went as far as hiring a bunch of bikers to beat the hell out of her so she could charge the ex. Now, that's just one scene, so there's plenty more where that came from. The moral of the story is think before you leap. I don't want to know somebody that this would happen to because it sounds pretty scary to me. So why do some of our friends keep so many secrets from us or our family? I feel it's just because they don't want to be judged. It may be wrong. It doesn't mean you don't want them to know about, but they will treat you differently. They may say something. The whispers, the manipulation behind your back, that could be the reason why one hides their true selves. They've always been ready to make excuses. It makes sense because so many different people out there are so judgmental. In the daytime, they feel that everything's good, but at nighttime living, they don't accept. We all go places and have been places where people judge, people look at you, and people now, that is your fault for letting them manipulate your mind. It's just the way it is. It's because the personality inside, we don't want to offend people or don't want people to look at us differently. I think you need to change that and just do what you want, right? Right. Now, you can share your input and thoughts. Author Stephen Candace at gmail.com. Anything you want to say, please say. Now, let's get to our recipes of the week. Because of our friends, the first recipe I chose was Sloppy Joe's. For Sloppy Joe's, you're going to need 1 pound of ground beef, a 1/4 cup of chopped onions, a 1/4 cup of bell peppers chopped, a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of yellow mustard, 1 cup of ketchup, 1 teaspoon of chili powder, and 3 teaspoons of brown sugar with a little salt and pepper for taste. In a medium saucepan, you're going to heat up the ground beef, onions, and green peppers and cook thoroughly until done. Usually onions are transparent. You're going to drain off the liquid, stir in all the spices, mix it thoroughly, reduce the heat to simmer for about 15 minutes, and bam! Your sloppy joes are ready to roll. Now, number 2, beef ribs. Yum, yum. You'll need 3 pounds of meaty beef ribs, 2 to 4 tablespoons of olive oil, tablespoon of garlic powder, tablespoon of onion powder, tablespoon of Cajun seasoning, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, a teaspoon of chili powder, teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of paprika, and 2 teaspoons of oregano. Now you're going to rinse off your ribs. You're going to pat them down with a dry towel. Spread the oil over them. Then you're going to sprinkle off and mix all the spices together and pat them down onto your ribs. You're going to get a baking dish. Place the ribs into a baking dish. Cover it with foil. Turn your oven on 250 and cook them for 4 hours. You are going to take them out, put them on a sheet pan, put them in your fridge to cool down. When you're ready to cook, if you cook them in the oven, put barbecue sauce on both sides. Then you're going to cook them for 350 for 20 minutes and boom, they'll be done. Barbecue, cook them 2 minutes each side. Put your sauce on. Put another 2 minutes each side. Bam, voila, serve them hot and enjoy. This week's episode of Things That Make You Go You know, I watch my grandkids and I love it. But you know, it drives you nuts after 2 or 3 years of different grandkids listening to the same songs. Like the wheels on the bus go round and round. I want to take those damn wheels right off that damn bus. Or how about Hop Little Bunny? I want to shoot Little Bunny. Or how about Icky Sticky 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 Bubble Gun? I want to put that gum in her mouth and shut it straight. Things that make you go home. All those shows constantly drive you crazy and the kids have to constantly listen to them over and over again. Remember Barney? No wonder why parents want to slap them damn selves. Like, it's crazy. Can I get a holla? Holla! Now, this week's episode, comment on older shit. As I said, the older I get, I see myself change. The funnier things become. You know, you'll get there, I promise. The best thing about getting older is that even a couple of days ago, my wife and I were watching TV, then she went to the other room. She was doing something, then she turned around and said something. And when I was turned around, heard what she said, I answered the question. Well, my wife seemed to have heard something completely different. She walked into the room, looked at me, and said, "What did you say that for?" And I looked at her and I said, "What? You asked a question, I answered it." Now all of a sudden there's a challenge between one another, and it could end up in an argument. We've all been there, and you just start laughing afterwards. It is funny, you just have to take it with a grain of salt. Now, better moral of the story is listen before you leave. Just saying. This week's quote of the week: shoot for the moon and you'll end up in the stars. So we think about it. Now let us enjoy our lives, everything around us, relax and grab a good book. I hope it's one of mine. We will chat with you soon. Holla! Have a great day and looking forward to this next adventure. DCP is out. Have a great day. I'm looking forward to this next adventure. DCP Talks is out.